Hey, you guys, welcome. So excited to be here today to talk a little bit about Indeed. So we're going to wait for people to come on, and I'm going to get my slides up here and running. Play. Awesome. So I've got a couple of kickoff questions that I want you guys to answer as we're waiting for people to come. Why are you here today? What are you hoping to get out of today's session? It might be clearly obvious because we have a topic assigned and all of those things, but I'd love to hear like what you specifically are hoping to get out of it. Is there a job or something that you're working on? Are you looking, to be a little bit more friendly with Indeed? Are you struggling with a specific position, or what is it that you're hoping to get out of today? So let's go ahead and check. We've got a couple of comments in here. Yes, Mackenzie's on today, and Allie also, a couple of our employees. And just reminder to chat everyone, not just hosts and panelists, so everyone can see. But go ahead and make those comments in here. D'Andrea, thank you so much. Maximize our company's usage of Indeed. Yes, Indeed is becoming more and more of a force, right? So we want to make sure that what we're putting out there is getting us the maximum results. More views and applies from our jobs on Indeed and Glassdoor. Terry, thank you. Yeah, Indeed and Glassdoor. Interesting. They're becoming not combined, but a lot of the things that they do are going to be shared back and forth. Daryl, target specific job openings. So specific things on those specific job openings. Awesome. Let's see. Jim, I'm new to Indeed. Our vendor uses Indeed, and I just wanted to understand the processes. Makes sense. We'll talk through some of those things. Hopefully you'll find valuable. Charles, maximize applications to our system by learning some Indeed features. Learn how to get more people applying. That's really the name of the game, right? We can put things out there, but as long as we're not getting the results, then it doesn't really matter. So more candidates. Ooh, I like this one. How to have my job stand out. So most definitely, I'm going to give you guys a stat a little bit later. Maybe I'll tell you right now, because I thought it was crazy. Every 12 seconds, a job is being added to Indeed. Like, that's a crazy number, right? And so if you don't stand out, it's going to be really difficult for those jobs people to even get eyeballs on the jobs. Learn more about Indeed and how it works best with our recruiting needs. Awesome. Okay, well, we've given people a few minutes to hop on and to join us. So if you have more comments, go ahead and comment. We have, like I said, incredible group here today and help us answer some questions. But to start out, my name is Heidi Barnett. I am the Chief Revenue Officer over here at Applicant Pro. We are an applicant tracking system that has a bunch of different hiring tools that we use as well. We have a background check company. We have an assessment. We have onboarding tools, video interviewing, a bunch of different things that will help us to recruit the best way possible. So really, one of the questions I think when I hop on to a webinar is, why should I listen? Like, what do you know, or what do you have that can really help me? So I just want to unpack just a few things about Applicant Pro and a little bit about me. So I've been in the industry for more than a decade. We're coming up on 12, 15 years here. And we have been on the Inc. 5000 list for multiple years. 2021 and 2022 are on that list as well. And what that should mean to you is that we do the same type of recruiting. So Inc. 5000 list is reserved for those that are bootstrapped companies or that haven't taken a ton of outside funding to be able to buy your way into views. So some of the things I'm going to tell you and I'm going to help you understand will be from that perspective of, hey, last year we doubled in size. We're at 280 employees, and what a ride that was. I was trying to do a lot of the same things you guys mentioned in the chat about having my job seen and making sure that I had the visibility that I needed in order for us to get the applicants that we need. Now, generally, we tend to hire a lot of employer referrals, which could be another webinar in and of itself. But we definitely use these tactics in order to get the visibility that we need on Indeed. Some impressive stats down here at the bottom too of we have over 10,000 clients, over 50 million applicants we run through our system every single month. And we have over 1 million job listings on our site. And we connect those onto Indeed. We have almost 100% of the jobs that we have come through the system are pushed directly to Indeed and back and forth. And so it's a place where I'm really comfortable. The other piece that I think is the most important of all this is that at Applicant Pro, we care more about solving your applicant sourcing problems than anyone else. And so really, we've really unpacked and really worked a lot on trying to understand where those views are coming from, where the applicants are coming from, helping you guys maximize the best way possible to get those the views and the applicants over to you as well. So I hope that you'll feel a lot of that passion and a lot of the understanding that I bring to the table. But I wanted to just make a quick note here that the slides and the recording and a bunch of other goodies will be emailed to you after the webinar. So go ahead and take notes if you want, but know that there is an email coming at the end of the webinar. Also, if you need to hop off early, then just watch for your email, including we have a new tool that is 5 tips to help you increase your jobs visibility on Indeed. And it will break down some of the things that we're talking about here into a quick tool in case you want to use that as a checklist or with your team as well. So please feel free throughout to ask questions. And hopefully there will be a few minutes for us to answer questions here at the end. Just a quick disclaimer though, before I jump into this is I don't work for Indeed, okay, and I don't speak for Indeed. And so I want to just let you know that a lot of these, a lot of the things that we're going to talk about come from years of experience, both working with over 10,000 clients and also working with Indeed themselves. We are part of the partner program with Indeed, one of the preferred partners. And so what that gets me, which is really, really lucky, I believe, is a weekly call with one of the representatives over at Indeed. And she works with us and has worked really closely with us to coach us, to teach us, to help us to resolve visibility issues. And so I feel like I have a front row seat to all of that. But please know that I don't speak for Indeed. And so there's my little disclaimer. So quick question is hiring just marketing? Now, this is a question that our founder, Ryan Kohler, tossed around quite a bit and would say all the time, hiring is just marketing. And I think I had to kind of go back in my archives because my background really is in marketing. I have a marketing degree and really have worked in the marketing field for most of my career. And so is Indeed really a search engine similar to Google? And what we're seeing is that Indeed really is borrowing brilliance, which is one of my favorite books that I read early in my career and has been really fundamental in how we've developed some of our programs and how I think about things. Indeed is borrowing a page from Google. Now, everything that they are doing or have done are exactly like Google. But what we're going to see, and as we unpack a lot of this, is that they really are a lot like Google. And there's a lot of things that I've learned in my marketing background that I can unpack and help you guys understand from the side of Indeed as well. But what we need to know here is that Indeed is king. This is the number of applicants that Indeed has in the United States. So as a percentage, applicants are coming through Indeed's site at 75% versus all of these others. So if you add up all of those others, you're getting just a 25%, even less than 25% of most companies' applicants are coming from Indeed. And this is also hires, and this is information that Indeed has put out, and it's an independent study, and I've got it linked down there at the bottom as well, that over 50% of hires in the United States are coming through Indeed versus others. And you can see this internal referrals piece, that 34% is a piece that we at Applicant Pro really, really talk about and stump about. It makes a huge difference in our hires with how quick and how quality of candidates that come through. But it's impressive that over 50% of hires right now for most companies are coming through Indeed. So the important thing to think about when we think about Indeed is that Indeed loves job seekers. This is right on their About Us page. Indeed is the #1 job site in the world with over 300 million unique visitors every month. So what we know about Indeed is that while they like and appreciate applicant tracking systems, while they like and appreciate you guys as employers, really what their focus is on job seekers. And I think that's a really important thing for you guys to know and to think about, because as you're putting out content and as you're putting out your job ads, what you're wanting to do is make sure that they appear for Indeed's target market. So Indeed's target market really is job seekers. They have built a lot of different things around that. They really want, if job seekers can come and they can find what they're looking for, then they have done their job. So basically, if there is garbage in, then there's garbage out. And Indeed really believes that, if they build it, they will come. They really want people to come, and they have worked most of the time in their overall experience to gather as many jobs and quality jobs as they can so that they connect the job seekers with these job opportunities. But having said that, they use an algorithm to help them. Okay, so this is very, very similar to Google, where it's basically an algorithm is a set of instructions for solving a problem or accomplishing a task. So what they want to do is make sure that you can think of that as really a sophisticated filter. So similar to what you have on your furnace, you stick that filter in there and it will let the air through that it wants, but keep all of the dust particles and garbage out. It's very, very similar on Indeed. What they want to do is bring in as many jobs as they possibly can, but make sure that we have that filter that's going to be keeping out jobs that are not helping the job seeker to find what they're looking for. And so think of that garbage in, garbage out. So they have this group that's called Trust and Safety over at Indeed, and they're basically the enforcers of the algorithm. And what they want to do is make sure that they are enforcing quality jobs that are set up in a way that the employer account will connect with the job seeker. But remember, again, job seeker is king over there, and they really want to focus on them. And so Trust and Safety has a job to make sure they're screening out and keeping out things that are not going to be connecting with the job seeker, or even worse, things that are really not job opportunities. If they are there to promote an MLM, or they're there to get people to buy into something, those just simply aren't allowed on the site. And so part of what they do at Trust and Safety is to keep those jobs out. But also, if there's a consistent repeat offenders, I'd say, then they will actually block the companies from being able to post any jobs. And so part of this is done through manual human factors, and some of it is just done through that algorithm. One thing to keep in mind here is that Indeed doesn't simply accept or reject your job. They can accept, reject, and harness your job. So that harness piece, I think, is one that a lot of times we don't think about and that they don't really talk about. But you can be on the site, assume that you have everything set up the proper way and eyeballs coming through, but they may be harnessing your traffic and harnessing your visibility. So it'll appear like everything is fine, but you may not be getting the visibility that you need. And we'll talk about some of the things that will affect that overall visibility and could potentially be harnessing some of the traffic. So let's talk about the ways for your job to be more successful on Indeed. Indeed talks about 3 specific things that they want your job to be in order to be rewarded with visibility. So the first one is relevant, the right keywords in your titles, and sponsored jobs also prove relevance to them as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about relevance in a minute. Meaningful jobs, ones that draw the talent and perform well in search. These are really important because there's signal coming back and forth between the job seekers and also there on Indeed. And then that last one is authentic. So employer brand, interactions with the job seeker, company page, reviews, all of those pieces show that you are an authentic employer and that your jobs are authentic and can connect with the job seeker as well. So here on relevance, I think this is a pretty important graphic where relevance to Indeed means all of these things. Is it timely? So job that sits on Indeed for 6 months isn't going to be considered timely, and they're going to remove eyeballs and traffic from you. Click through rate. So those that go to your job and then actually click to continue, that's really important as well, because it's showing a job seeker behavior where they're interacting with your job. That's going to show relevance above other things. Location is also really important to Indeed, and making sure that the location is tailored towards a specific place, because that's one of the things that people search for. Not so much anymore because we have remote, but they are seeking for either remote or somewhere near their home. Branded searches, if people are going on Indeed and looking specifically for your company. So if somebody logs in to Indeed and does a search for applicant pro and then engineer, what that shows again is relevance. People are looking for you as a brand, and you're not trying to squat or put that information out there. The content that you put on the page is really important. The way you say things, how you say them, the order of things, and all of those are really important. Your job ad is one of the most important pieces that you can do in order to improve your overall visibility on Indeed or any other job site. So make sure that you are paying attention to that and really working on improving that as well. And I've got some things that will help you with that. What your process is, and then your reviews. So there's on your company page, there are places for reviews. They reward reviews for not only number of reviews that you get, but also how high those reviews are. So if you have, 5 stars, then that looks better than others. And then what you see on that far side is you have job seeker behavior. And then, like we talked about, trust and safety, those AI agents, along with the algorithm. So these, the job seeker behavior as it interacts with your jobs, it will then send signal back and forth to Indeed, showing them that this is a relevant position. So relevance really sits highly there up on Indeed and how they reward visibility. All right, we're going to talk about quality keywords. So this is one of the things that I think is most important. So this here sits right alongside of Google. So the way that you present keywords within both your job title and within your job will make it so that those that are searching for a job can make that connection. And that's one of the most important things for Indeed. So you can look at this SEO book. That's a tool that I use as a marketer. Over here on the right side, your top search terms by clicks. This is a tool that's within Indeed, and then you have your competition score as well. You can see on the far right, you've got project manager versus project manager, and project manager versus project management. And you can see the difference of how many people are using that click, or how many are actually typing in that name versus the other. And so if your title is project management, you can simply make that change to project manager, and you're going to be able to get more eyes or more views on your job. So the keywords that you use in your jobs and in your title really matter. And the goal is to make that connection to the job seeker. So what is the job seeker searching for? What you want to do is think about that as you're creating these jobs and putting them into Indeed. So a good example would be fast food worker. And a bad example would be experience creator, because we actually had a client who was a sandwich shop, and their job ad wasn't getting any traffic. And we went in and dug a little bit deeper and found out that they had experience creator as the title of their job. Unless you know that that's what it's called, no one is searching for that. So what you're going to want to do is make sure that you have those keywords within the job ad, but also as your title. The next one, a good example, is a teller. And then also you have member services, which is one of the things our credit union clients use. And so we push them to, instead of putting member services in that title, to put teller in the title. You can call it member services down in the job ad, But you can also, as you infuse teller throughout, it's going to make it so that those signals again are really high, and that becomes a more relevant job ad. A good example is developer, software developer, engineer, whatever those are right down there, versus, all of those different things up there with a Java SOC, mid-level develop engineer. Those are, while it might be true and that might be what it's called, that's not what people are necessarily searching for. So what you want to do again is try to match what people are searching for. This is something that Google does. When you go in and you type in something, you want that search result to come up what you're looking for. Restaurants in Lehi, Utah. You want it to return restaurants that are actually in Lehi, Utah. When it doesn't, there's frustration, but then also you're going to click off of that, or you're going to leave, and it's not going to be as relevant, and then you're not going to be rewarded as much. So keep in mind those good examples versus the bad examples when you're looking at trying to match with what the job seekers are looking for. The keywords will then feed into these job titles. So this is something that Indeed has given us as far as the overall characters that they like to see on your job title. So 60 characters, which is around 10 words or less, or 35 characters for those that are searching on mobile. If not, it will extend out and make it a little bit more difficult to read there. So this, again, you're going to want to keep them really concise in order to get it in what those 10 words are. And so make sure that you are creative in what you're using there, but really think again, I want to match with whatever the job seeker is looking for. So what you're going to want to do is make sure that you are specific and concise, that you stick to the title of the job, and that you can use aspects to describe the job. So for example, marketing is an okay one. A better one would be senior trade show marketer, because it kind of describes what you do, but it still is very specific around that job. And then you can use that career level, similar to senior or junior. That will give you some anonymity around what kind of job or what kind of job seekers that you get. What you're going to want to leave off in particular, and we've seen this happen quite often, where people will, just by simply changing the job title, will make a huge difference. So leave off your special characters. You don't want to put in there $signs, exclamation points. Don't capitalize your whole title. You're going to leave off internal titles or any internal jargon. You're going to not use your clickbait. So anything that's like ninja, rock star, all of that kind of stuff, just leave it off. Simply leave it off. They don't reward for it. In fact, it can harm you overall. And then don't use every single character available just because. If it doesn't add value, leave it off. So think about quality titles. Titles are a really big deal to Indeed because they need to make sure that they're connecting over to the job seeker. So here's a side-by-side example where you have senior software developer or engineer. That is a better example than your senior .NET C+ developer, blah, blah, blah. That is going to not appear in the searches as often as your senior software developer. So sometimes we want to stand out and we want to look a little bit more unique. It actually can harm you in the title. So you should include those details, but you're going to want to include them in the job description. And you can see right here how there is like those first two sentences that are shown there. This is a hook, and similar to, when we were reading newspaper articles, you only had like the first two lines to really catch somebody. That's similar to what you're seeing here. And so you should include those details. They should just be in the job description. Put them at the top there if it's super important for you to be able to get people to apply for the job. So it's better to use it to be a little bit more open than it is to be that specific. Put those things again down in the bottom, because it will make a really big difference on the title and the connection of the job seeker to your title. All right, let's talk about quality job descriptions. And again, you heard me at the very beginning talking about the absolute importance of you guys having quality job descriptions and putting quality job descriptions out on the job boards. I'm going to show you a quick study that Applicant Pro did about job ad writing. And we had a group of clients. This group was in the construction industry. And we found that our construction business owners were struggling to write job ads. A lot of times they were really short. They weren't very specific, and no one felt really comfortable writing those job ads. And so we did an experiment, and we wanted to see that if we wrote the job ads based on our formula that we used for our own job ads and to coach other people, if we were to write job ads based around that, what would be the overall result? And you can see down in the results on the orange, that is the industry standard. And on the right is what we got after rewriting these job ads. So it's kind of cool. You can see that we got more applicants per job. But the other part that was an unintended consequence, in my opinion, was that they were spending less per job, less sponsor dollars, and all of those pieces just by us simply writing the job ad. So just by changing their job ad, they got more applicants per job and spent less money. So it's quite a big improvement, and it makes a huge difference when you spend time writing your job ad. I'm not going to go into this anymore, but I have a killer job ad guide that is free that will walk you through how to get those results, this formula that I talked about that got us the results for our construction clients. And we'll include it in the email, so it's free, but watch for that because I think it really does make a big difference. If you want to see a change in the overall quality of your candidates and visibility, follow the job ad guide and it will help you to write a better job ad. All right. On our descriptions, word count matters as well. So this is another Indeed statistic. They like job postings between 700 and 2,000 characters. Okay. So around 100 to 300 words. If you sit in that category of 7,000 or 700 to 2,000 characters, you will get 30% more applicants than other job posting. And I think a lot of times that's on against the shorter end. We've had job ads that have been longer that have performed just as good, if not better, but really keep an eye on that lower number. You're going to want to make sure that it's 100 words or more because people are going to go through and read. It also gives you more opportunity from a search perspective to connect to your job seeker. So you can use your keywords sparingly throughout. That will help you to get those views. So I would focus on that 100 words or more on your job description and use the killer job ad to find out what words you should put in there. You're going to want to make sure to include certain things. There's this good to have column and this great to have column also. So it's great to have your salary and benefit information, but it's even better to have realistic growth opportunity included alongside that. Experience required for the job seeker to have, information about the company that is hiring, information about the duties and the roles. All of this it seems pretty basic, but there are tons of jobs that don't include this information. Also, this great to have is company culture, expectation for the process, and then company values overall. It just helps the job seeker to understand what it is that they are going into when they apply for this job. The goal really is not to just have a list of bullet points for them to just check off. What you're trying to do in this, when we talk about standing out and getting people to apply, is that you really want them to feel excited about the position. So yes, you need to include some things, to check a box, but really what you're trying to do is to put your best foot forward and to make it so that people are excited about the position. You're going to want to be honest, and you're going to want to create the job ad with the right feeling overall so that they understand they're not getting into something that doesn't really fit you. So if you are relaxed and kind of a chaos or fast moving kind of company, you're going to want your job ad to match that, right? So make sure that you include those things in the job ad. We're going to do less of this. Don't apply. If you haven't studied, if you haven't done. Our job ads we're trying to cast a wide net. And when we cast a wide net, then it makes it so that we have more opportunity to have a match than we would if we're trying to use the job ad to exclude. So we're not going to want use a job ad to exclude people, I think that's old school thinking. What we're going to want to do is cast a wide net. Now you can ask, well, what happens if they come in and they're not a good fit? That's when we use our screening questions and our other screening tools, video interviewing and other things in order to weed people out. Basic qualification questions, all of those pieces will keep the wrong job seeker out, but you may have missed out if you're doing more of this don't apply. You may be weeding out good candidates. So you're going to want to include, here's what a day in the life looks like. Here's what our employees say about us. Here's what it would be like to work for this manager. Here are the minimum requirements. I'm really settling in on what is minimum above this nice to have. Here's what happens after this. Here's how you apply. Here's what your next steps are. Be as forthcoming as possible, because what you're wanting to do is connect with those job seekers and make sure that Indeed's target market is happy in the process. If you have questions, the Employer Help Center on Indeed is really, really helpful. There's a lot of links that I've included here that have come directly from the Help Center. But if you have questions, please use the Indeed Help Center. There's a ton of information in there. All right, the next section is that Indeed wants your salary information. Now, I think that Indeed has always liked your salary information, but July of last year, they did an update within the system that heavily rewards those that have salary information. And they actually went beyond and are including salary information if you do not include it yourself. So Indeed's vision really is to show a salary for every job in the United States. And they have a threefold mission. And one of it is to close that pay gap. Another one is to put the job seekers first. Job seekers, that's the number one thing that they're looking for, is how much does this job pay? When there is a match between job seeker pay and the company pay, there's a more happy situation there. And then I know that you guys have heard about the different laws that are demanding pay transparency. And so Indeed, in order to stay in front of that, has decided to adopt widespread, so that it's not just like, hey, this one county in New York is now requiring, all right, now we're looking at this whole state over here and having to keep up with that. They're doing a full scale, every city, every county, every state, they are requiring salary. 80% of people said that being paid fairly was the top consideration when accepting a new job. I feel that way. If I were looking for a job, I would want to know. And you want that information to be accurate. It also rewards, Indeed is rewarding visibility for those that include salary. So you can see over here, 30% more apply starts per impression for those that have salary information than don't. And right now, I think this stat might be higher, but 78% of jobs posted on Indeed directly provide salary information. So if you want to do this to be determined or based on experience, it may harm you. So you have a range that you can put in there, your bottom and top. And I think it's really, really important that we take that field seriously and put that information in. I want to tell you about a story about one of our employees. Their son was going out to get his first job and found this job that really seemed too good to be true. It was a job he was super interested in, a job that he thought he could get, and the salary was high, and he was so excited. And so he went all the way through the process and to the point where they offered him a job. And when they offered him a job, it was significantly less than what he saw in the job ad. And when he addressed that with them, they said, where did you get that number? Why did you think it paid more than that? And he showed them the job ad, the initial ad that had posted on Indeed. And they said, well, we didn't put that information in there. So Indeed had put that information and filled that in. You don't want to be in a situation like that. He was upset. They had wasted and spent a ton of time on a candidate that wasn't going to be a good fit for them. And in the end, it kind of left a bad taste in the mouth of the applicant. And so what we're going to want to do is make sure that we have a chance to state that salary and to state it up front. Estimates are overwritten by the employer provided information, even if that information is available on Indeed. So Indeed is prioritizing employer provide salary information above that, and it will also grant more visibility based around the inclusion of salary information provided by the employer. So it's really important in watching them take steps like this where they'll fill in the salary with an estimate if you don't provide it, really shows what Indeed cares about. What they care about is they want their job seekers to have this salary information so that they can make the best decision possible. So if you are not including that right now, that's one thing to look at your jobs and to circle back around and say, what would be an acceptable range here, and to include that information when you post your job either directly to Indeed or from an ATS that pushes into Indeed. All right, let's talk about refreshing your job ads. Now, this one is always interesting when we talk about it because there's a lot of energy around refreshing your job ad. This is a question that we get all the time. How long should I leave my job open? And, Indeed doesn't provide you with, or provide anyone with, what is considered relevant or timely or whatever those pieces are. But this is a part in their, something to know before you post a job on Indeed. And what it says is every open job gets paused after 30 days. So if your job hasn't been closed already by you, Indeed will automatically pause your job after 30 days. So I'm not saying it's 30 days, but I am saying if they're including that and pausing jobs after 30 days, if your job is still open and still haven't received the candidates that you're looking for to fill this open job, then it's a good idea to take this job down and to put a new job up. So if you take a job down and put the same job back up, there is a really good chance that you will be flagged by Indeed. We've seen this over and over again, that the harness traffic will happen, or there will be they'll be blocked based on this activity, especially if you're doing it frequently, if you have a lot of jobs open. So old job ads, we know, don't get the same visibility as a new job ad posted on Indeed. We don't want this left up for months at a time. And if you take it down, don't put the same job ad right back up. We recommend writing another version of your job description if you need to refresh your job. Taking it down and putting it back up will not do it for you. If the job ad has to be notably and fundamentally different than what you put up originally to have it viewed as a new job ad. If not, it's going to be considered the same one going down and coming back up. So if you're just changing a couple of words or a couple of sentences, it's not going to appear as new. So be really careful with this one. And really looking at your job ad, and if it didn't connect the first time and you didn't get the applicant pool you were looking for, simply closing it and opening it back up isn't going to get you the result that you need anyway. So spend some time, write another job ad. If you are constantly looking for the same position, it will serve you to write different versions of the job ad. Write one that is in one way, and then rewrite it, or have someone else that you know and trust write a different version of the job ad so that you get a different perspective. It'll make a really big difference. So don't just take down your job and put it back up. It will cause problems for you. All right. Disposition data. So Indeed really, really likes disposition data. This is something that they've been asking us for and harping on us about for disposition data. So what is disposition data? It's a fancy term really for the statuses that the status of the applicant that you are looking at. And so when you go through your applicants and your applicant pool and you're looking at each one, when you change their status from not selected or reviewed or hired or whatever those status codes are, that is disposition data. And within the ATS, we're able to hand the information over to Indeed, and they are rewarding employers that have this disposition data and are handing it back. Again, this is a signal that you are a responsive employer, that you are consistently working your applicant pool, that those that are in Indeed's target market are having a good experience with you as an employer. And so you're going to want to make sure that you are, number one, that you have a way to disposition your applicant pool. Secondly, that you are dispositioning them and that there is a way for them to be passed over. So over here on the right, this is a screenshot of Applicant Pro, just so you guys can see. Over here on the right, we've got those reviewed, selected for interview, whatever it looks like. Most importantly, if you have, once you've made your hired, removing everybody and choosing the not selected, informing your candidates of your decision, and then passing that information over really will create the best experience with the candidate pool that you have. And it will also get you the disposition data that Indeed likes to see and will reward again for with visibility overall. All right, let's talk about sponsoring your jobs on Indeed. We encourage sponsoring only after you've done the work to optimize your job titles, your job descriptions, and you have really good job questions in place. There's no point in throwing dollars at a sponsored job if it's not optimized in the first place. So we really encourage you to go through. You may get strides there before you sponsor. Sponsoring is a really powerful tool if you're at that point in the game of, hey, I've optimized and I'm still not getting the visibility that I want for these. And so sponsoring can be a powerful way to do that. So let's talk about sponsoring on Indeed. So non-sponsored jobs, you can see this at the bottom, non-sponsored jobs fall back and lose visibility as 12 jobs are added to Indeed every second. So I shared that with you a little bit earlier, but that's why it's important to sponsor. You're going to be in a higher placement. You're going to be viewed at a different rate. And the thing that's tricky about sponsorships is that it doesn't always have to do with, it has to do with the masses, right? So if you have a job that is really competitive or in an area that's super competitive, then the number of views you're going to get, the dollars you spent in order to be noticed is going to be different than if you're in an area where it's not super competitive. And so it's not always apples to apples. It has to do with, a lot of outside factors. And so that's why sponsoring is an important part of what Indeed does and why we recommend it to clients when they have optimized their jobs overall. Sponsored jobs get better visibility. Then it gives better visibility than those that don't sponsor. Excuse me. And I mean, you can hate it, you can like it, but Indeed is a business. And really what they're trying to do is say, hey, if you pay us money, then we'll give you preference. The thing that they've done that's smart, and maybe they took a page from Google on this as well, is that when you go and do a Google search, you see an area at the top that says sponsored, right? Where they are showing you the sponsored content that is visible at the top. Like, hey, these guys paid, we're going to give them a preferable spot. The positioning is going to be better, and it's going to ensure that more people see their information that they put out. With Indeed, they're doing something similar, except they're not showing it. So this job right here, customer service representative, may be a sponsored job, but you don't see that anywhere within Indeed. So it's kind of a cool thing for them. It's tough for us as employers to have things not know that it is a sponsored job, or how to compete in that area. There are some ways to sponsor. Let me jump back here. So there are results. So we're basically paying for results on Indeed. You're not just paying for visibility, but you are paying for clicks on the job. So you only pay when they click on the job. So it is a pretty cool program because I've been in marketing for most of my career. There are lots of different ways to have you pay per impression, pay per view, pay per click. And so pay per click is the most valuable to you as an employer or a business. So how to sponsor a job on Indeed through the ATS. Now, not all ATSs provide this as an option, but we provide this as an option. So I wanted to show you, it's kind of cool that you can initiate, update, and stop sponsoring a job directly within the system. And what you would do is Indeed will actually provide you backup budget. So when I was talking about it being kind of tricky, is this a competitive area, competitive job, competitive market? When you go in to sponsor, it will kick back for you. And I believe it does this directly on Indeed as well, is that it will give you the number of applicants that you can get within a certain time frame for a specific budget. And you can either accept Indeed's budget or you can set your own budget. And so it will basically tell you if this is overly competitive. You'll see that dollar go up, the number of applicants go down, but it will show you, you know, that's kind of a competitive market. And in order to get views or notice, then I'm going to want to sponsor in this area. So if you're looking at applicant tracking systems and trying to decide, know that not all applicant tracking systems are created equal in the eyes of Indeed. In fact, just last month, they announced a partner program where they're going to be tiering their different partnerships. And so their ATSs will not all have the same option for integration, the same option for new features that are coming out and those types of things. And so ask those hard questions. Ask your applicant tracking systems, hey, do you have this? Or, hey, tell me about how you work with Indeed. What integrations are available to you? Do you have a partnership with Indeed that will make it so that I can have some of the features that will help me to get the visibility that I need? So all you need to do is set up or connect your Indeed account first, and then you can use a sponsorship integration within the system. While I'm talking about connecting your account, we actually have a promotion right now through Indeed that you can receive $100 credit when you sponsor a job on Indeed through Applicant Pro. It's a temporary promotion, but it will allow for you to get some free money if you haven't advertised through Indeed before. So we'll send out that link, but just know that that's a possibility for you as well. So you can go here or you can wait for that link to come out and we'll send that out to you. All right. We have a webinar exclusive offer for you guys, something that we haven't really done before for prospects. We do it for our clients all the time, but it's a free job ad review call. And what I have is some of my most veteran employees at Applicant Pro are going to open up some space on their calendar to be able to run a job ad review call. If you have a job that you're working on and not getting the visibility that you want, you can fill out this quick form. What it will allow for you to do is get some time with these experts. They can run you through and give you some pointers on, hey, this is, I would change this. This doesn't read very well. This would be more beneficial from a standpoint of, keywords or different things like that. So, it's free and you can hop on a call with them, ask some questions, pick their brain. They will run you through. It's just a 30-minute call and you'll get some valuable information from that. Also, I want you guys to make sure you check your email. We have a bunch of goodies that are coming to you in your inbox. We have this slide deck. There will be a playback link of this webinar. There will be a couple of different free resources that I've talked about, that 5 tips to increase your visibility on Indeed tool, and then how to write a killer job ad that will come to you in your inbox. And then you'll also have a couple of other helpful links. The $100 promo that we talked about will be in there. And then that free job ad review call opt-in will be in there as well. So you can grab that. The other thing that I love about us emailing these out is that there's a live human attached to those on the other side. So if you have questions, if you want someone to take a look, or help you out with Indeed issues, there's a live person on the other side. Just hit reply and you can chat with us over there. So it looks like we have about 10 minutes for questions. What questions do you guys have? How can I help? I'm sure that Jess and Allie and Mackenzie have been really helpful, but I wanted to just see what you guys have as far as questions here. Let's see. Is Applicant Pro affiliated with Indeed? So affiliation is kind of weird. We work closely with Indeed. We are one of their preferred providers and partners, but it's a loose affiliation where Indeed is works with a lot of different companies. So hopefully that answers your question, Mary. We consider them friends though. So. Okay, let's see. we're paying a lot of money the last 12 months only to find out, wow. Okay, that's what Lisa said. Is the same job, it is the same job, but change the title. So sometimes people will do that in order to refresh the job. They'll take the job down, put it back up with a different title. I don't believe that it will give you the juice that you want. I think what you're going to want to do is rewrite your job ad, but make sure you change the title when you repost that job, because again, the title can make a big difference. This is from Lisa. Can recruiters share an account, or does each recruiter have to have their own individual resume database account? What is best practice? So if you're talking about recruiters within the same company, I believe that it would be okay to share an account. But if it's recruiters outside of your own company, I would make sure that you have individual accounts, just because I believe that Indeed rewards differently and wants to see that interaction back and forth, right? So split them that way. If you have the others with us, we can have multiple users or internal recruiters, and they all feed into the same Indeed account. So hopefully that helps. Is there a difference if you refresh your job posting directly on Indeed versus the ATS? And this is Myra. I hope I said your name right. I don't believe so. I think that you're going to want to refresh your job postings on Indeed after a certain amount of time versus the ATS. I think you're going to want to do it no matter what. As far as how Indeed treats it, I don't think they treat them differently. It appears when we send the jobs over through a feed, it will appear as a new job if you take it down and put a new job back up. So hopefully that answers your question. Does Applicant Pro work with a number of right-at-home offices? I'm not sure what you're asking, Jim. Give me a little bit more, and hopefully I'll be able to answer that for you. On Applicant Pro, are we able to view in-process applicants on our dashboard? Mackenzie, if you're on, can you answer Bella? I'm not sure how that works. I believe that you can see in-process applicants that have at least submitted that initial interest, but let's see if Mackenzie can help us answer that one. Ooh, Lisa, good question. What is the recommendation for a remote posting? Any best practices? So yes, what you're going to want to do on remote is that you have your city, state, and country, okay? And on your city, you are going to want to put remote. On your state, you're going to want to leave that blank. And then in the country, you're going to put USA. The other thing you're going to want to do is in the very first couple of lines, that hook area, you're going to want to put 100% remote or option of remote, those types of things. You're going to want to put something similar to that in the very beginning. So that's how we've been told by Indeed to put that in there, is to put remote in the city, leave the state blank, put USA for the country, and then make sure that you include remote in those first couple of sentences. So hopefully that helps you with that. Terry says, when you say job ad, is it the same as job description? So yes and no. So job description, I think, is used interchangeably with job ad for the purpose of posting the job. But I think about it very differently. A lot of times you have like a legally required job description. And what that is a set of, requirements that are legally approved. And the job ad is going to be different from that, in that what you're trying to do is persuade someone to apply for the job. You can include your job description. What we recommend for that is to put that into a PDF of some kind and link it up in your job ad right at the very end. Say, to read the full description of our job ad, click here, and it will have a link that they can click over and read the legally required job description. But really what you're wanting to do is an advertisement. You're going to want to advertise the job so that it is presented in a way where someone is excited to apply. So Indeed and ATSs may use those interchangeably, but when you think about it, you're going to want to think about it as an advertisement to get people excited about applying for the job. All right, let's see. Mary, this is a good question. So Mary asks, if we're willing to aid in relocation, how do you make sure others from outside of your area see it? This one is tricky in that you could potentially do post it in the city where people will be relocating for. The other one is to put it in an area, like post a secondary ad in a different area, right? That's going to say, you know, willing to relocate in that hook area or willing to help aid in relocation in that hook area. You're going to want to be careful though, because you don't want to put it in too many locations, or it will be considered location blasting, which Indeed doesn't like either. So you're not going to want to take the exact same job ad and post it in 17 different cities. If you do that, then it's considered location blasting and all of them will be blocked. So what you're going to want to make sure that you do is that you either put a substantially different job ad in each one of those cities. I've heard from Indeed reps that if you post to 3 cities or 5 cities, then you're not going to be blocked as long as they're like 25 miles or more away from each other. I haven't seen that be really helpful. So that one is probably one of the toughest, is that when you are going to require them to be in another city, but you can attract from different areas. So maybe just look at writing a couple different versions of the job ad, posting up to 3 different cities for each one, then that will give you the spread that you want. Just make sure that they're 25 miles apart or more. But man, that's a tough one. I hope that you are able to recruit for that. All right. Is that job ad done through Applicant Pro or directly on Indeed? So that's what Terry is asking. You can post either way. You can post directly to Indeed, or you can post through Applicant Pro or another applicant tracking system that feeds into Indeed. What we have with Indeed is that our clients are able to post their job ad or jobs within the system. What it does, it will create the career site, post a job on your own career site that's linked up on your company website. It will also then grab all of the jobs, it bundles them up, and in a feed will push these jobs over to Indeed. Indeed accepts them and categorizes them on the site. So you can put your jobs on Indeed and directly, or you can put them on an applicant tracking system that will push directly to Indeed. It makes it so that if you were to have it on the applicant tracking system, you'll have an ATS alongside getting the same type of bandwidth from Indeed and getting the views. So my preference, of course, coming from an applicant tracking provider, is that you would post on the applicant tracking system and then have that job pushed out to Indeed. You can sponsor through there. All of the applicants are collected back into the ATS, but it really is up to you on your preference there. Okay, let's see. Thanks, Leslie. Leslie says, great info. All right, let's see. Should marketing be involved and collaborate with HR recruiting to provide their expertise in attracting applicants based on advertising efforts? We do not use our marketing department. Lisa, I mean, if you have access to your marketing team, they may have the ability to help you with writing a job ad. They may have content writers. They may have some resources that you don't have there. I think that one of the most important things is not who writes it, but your understanding of what you're trying to attract. So what we teach is that you're going to want to figure out who you would want to clone. So let's say that you have a customer support position that's open and you're like, oh my gosh, I would hire 10 Bellas. I would love to have another clone of Bella. What you should do is use your expertise and your experience with Bella, sit down, do a quick interview and say, what did you do before this job? What do you love about this job? When you talk to your friends, what do you tell them you do for work? Gather a bunch of information, and then you can use this to write your job ad. And with the killer job ad that we have, there's different sections that you can write. And that would be a good place to be like, hey, marketing, could you help me write a cool part about what our company does? And then I will write up the day in the life, because I had a 5-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute conversation with Bella. She told me what she does every single day. And now I feel confident in being able to write this up. If you're not feeling confident, send it over to Bella after and say, hey, how does this sound? Is this a good description of what you do every single day? And utilize them, because they're the ones that you like. They're the ones that are doing a good job within the team. And so a lot of times our hiring managers can provide some information. Same with marketing. They could probably provide an awesome, well-written piece. But if you're not connecting to the job seeker, then it doesn't really matter. So I would utilize that, sit down, have a conversation with the person that you want to clone and see if it will make a big difference in how confident you feel writing the job ad. If not, ask marketing for a favor and see if they can help you. Bye, Missy. Thanks so much for coming. Anyone else have any questions? I think I'm at the bottom here. I'm willing to stick around for another couple minutes if it will help you. Is it better to use bullet points or write in paragraph form? Christine, I think that there is a place for bullet points. I like to see those used in like a list of the requirements. So these are the 5 things that we are really looking for that are requirements for the job. But everything else, I like to see it written more as a narrative. I feel like it makes a connection to the job seeker. They're not feeling like they're being talked at, but more of like, hey, let me describe to you what it looks like in a day in the life of a content writer at Applicant Pro. And then you can talk about, hey, every day is different. You are receiving requests from, our sales team to write some marketing collateral. You're writing things from the CEO. There's all these different pieces of information. So there is a place for bullet points. I just think they're heavily overused within the job ad, because what you're trying to do, again, as an advertisement, is to convince people. A list of bullet points tend to be a little bit more dry. And what you're going to want to do is really connect with people. And that can be done through either a story or some sort of paragraphs, right? So that's how I like to use it. Lisa, thank you so much for coming. Hopefully that answered your question, Christine. Catherine, if you have a question, go ahead and type it in. While we're waiting to see if there's any more, just make sure you guys check your email. Sometimes they'll go to spam, but there's a lot of free and useful information in there. Well, of course, I would love to have you come over and become a client of Applicant Pro. Really, what I wanted to do today was just share some of the information that we have and that we've learned working with our clients, and then also for ourselves. So make sure you check that out. Yeah, Catherine, there is a replay of the video. We'll include that in the email. We usually send the email out about 24 hours after we run our webinars. So you'll be able to watch it back, but then we also have a couple of other tools. Jerry, thanks. Awesome. If I don't see any more questions, I just want to thank you guys for spending an hour with me. I know that you're super busy and there's lots of different things that are coming at you from HR. And I'm honored that you spent the hour with me. Hopefully you found something that was beneficial for you and will help you get more visibility for the jobs that you are looking for and getting your views on Indeed. Thanks again so much. All right. Bye-bye.